Step one to making your flowers is to take a toilet paper roll or a paper towel roll, and you are going to squish it right in half. Then choose a color paint. Paint the inside completely and also paint the outside. Then let it dry. My tube is completely dry. Now you're going to cut it into equal sections. I start by doing one right down the middle. Try to make them as straight as you can. Now I have equal petals. So you can see my color has changed. That's just because I finished my orange one yesterday. But I left off at the same step. Here are my petals. I painted over the little sliver of cardboard. Next, you're gonna pick a paper for the background of your flower. You want it to be around the same color. You can see my aqua is just a little lighter. Then you pour a puddle of liquid glue, and I'm using Q-tip. You can use your finger or you can use a paintbrush. And one at a time, you're gonna take the petal, flip it over where the cardboard side would be showing. Take some glue and line the bottom with a generous amount of glue. Just like this. Then put it on your paper. There's my first petal. The second one, you're gonna start by putting a dollop on the inside edge because it's gonna hug right up against that one. But you also line the bottom with glue as well. And do a lot. This stuff dries clear, so you're not gonna see it. You want to make sure your petals stick to your paper. Okay, you'll notice that you're gonna have one extra. That's okay, we're not gonna use that one. Now, while the glue is flexible, I'm gonna make sure that they all come into the center the same amount. I'm gonna push down on my paper, and you're going to let this dry. Now, while your flower is setting, you're gonna take another piece of paper. I'm choosing this slightly lighter aqua, and you're gonna fold it in half. And you're gonna need to do a series of lines. I'm just using this old letter. Make it about that thick. You want it almost a little lower, a tiny bit lower than the width of your petals. And just go like this all the way to the end. Now I already did that, right here. You're gonna make sure that when you cut, you hold your paper nice and tight together. And you're gonna cut off your strips one at a time. Cut really straight, slowly, carefully. Keeping your paper together the whole time. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make a pile. So I've cut all my strips. Take about half of them, it doesn't need to be exact. And cut these in half this way, because you're gonna need some that are smaller. So now I have a pile of longer ones and a pile of smaller ones. Now here comes the relaxing part, the actual curling of the paper. Here are my strips. I'm using a skewer for grilling. You can use a toothpick. You can even use a Q-tip and just cut off one of the fuzzy ends. Start at the end, roll over tightly, and each time I do a couple rolls, I make sure it's nice and tight. I'm making sure my strip is in the middle. and I'm rolling all the way down. Okay, slide it off, keeping it nice and tight. Take your glue, do a little dollop here, tuck it into one of your petals and push it to the end. Okay, now I'm gonna do about 4 big ones and I'll show you what to do with the little ones. So you can see here are my 4 big quills right there. I'm gonna fill these 2 dinky areas with a smaller one. You do the same thing, roll it up nice and tight. Glue. I sometimes use my stick to move it aside so I can tuck it in there. Come on. There we go. Again, I don't care about that glue showing. It's gonna dry clear. The last one is the toughest one to shimmy in there. There we go. Gorgeous. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill all my petals. So this flower is all dry. It took a couple hours. And the last step you're gonna do is just carefully cut as close as you can right up to the flower part. You're gonna wanna find really little scissors to get as close as you can. And there is my finished quilled flower. I'll probably glue a string in the back so I can hang it against the window.